Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Handle lights and teddy bears, I'm trying to leave your block romantic. Flicking off the hip, I leave the scene looking like I'm dancing. Ain't one Westworld, best believe we not gon' stand big titties on a drum. The stick figure looking outstanding. Rip his top with the hands of the Lord, call that God tears. Send a spear right to the sky and watch his front tear. I'm that nigga cause I run with them niggas, so let's get that clear. Don't question who say I'm the GOAT, I tell them God did. In order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. To me that's suicide. Of course I sound cocky to a glizzy eater, fuck your pride. Don't need a horoscope to see I'm a star, so fuck your sign. You can believe in anything you want, but as for me and mine, God mode. I am what I am, so let's just keep in mind. Don't wanna be like Yaya Kyrie, they wanna be like I. She said she lost until she found me, and then she found a tribe. And then I make a bout face until she called me out of wine. The weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. All time, no questions asked, we come and find you. His problems, my problems, and I'm standing behind you. Stepping with style, I'm standing on shit of my product. I take on the crowd, tell them all throw in the towel. Half moon with a silencer, make it sound like a howl. We the shit, we about movements with a growl. Heavy is the head with the crown, when I take it I'm proud. I get the order, bring my sword back wet with a smile, nigga. I'm an Israelite rapper, nigga. Would never hit his wife, but I'll go at you. I make commitments to a gun if I'm talking about a tantrums. Nigga said he a stand-up dude, that mean we laughing, nigga. Jumped on the beat, start snapping, you leaving fractures. Red and green bean, I'm Gucci, you thinking fashion. There goes you for the green, and I ain't talking St. Patrick. You screaming all lives, I'm screaming all guns matter. Keep it biblical, talking in parables, cause it matter. If I say bring Jake up, I'm talking about a ladder. He was the wave till I came with the fire, no John the Baptist. Who cared you did it first, you should be worried about who after. I'm connected in any habitat, shit I adapted. Nose job on a brand new snub is all plastic. That's why I show up the court with jeans on, I'm never slacking. You a rapper turned Israelite, I'm an Israelite rapping. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. All time, no questions asked, we come and find you. His problems, my problem. Stepping with style, I'm standing on shit of my product. I take the crowd, tell them all throw in the towel. Throw in the towel. Heavy is the head with the crown, when I take it I'm proud. I get the order, bring my sword back quick with a smile, nigga. One Westworld. Let's get it. Don't be sure, tell them make sure. If not, we gon' make war. Clips say it hold 20, but I think it could take more. Grab a stick, fire on your camp, we gon' make s'mores. I ain't satisfied with my spot, then I'ma take yours. No matter how many roadblocks in my way, I'ma break forward. This path I'm on is so damn narrow, I just stay forward. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, I just ate more. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, give me 8 more. Nigga, I don't sugarcoat shit, bitch, I'm straightforward. Don't give a fuck if they don't let me in, I just break doors. Ballin' so hard, they asking what team that I play for. Skimmer who? They ain't stopped making guns when they made yours. Sick with it, feeling like I woke up with stage 4. They ain't want the beast loose, what they opened up the cage for. Endure the pain, been through hard times is what I'm made for. Paid my dues, never left a wage, I just rage war. So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Still against all enemies. In high school, you was the man, that's lost memory shit. Lost energy, never lost my energy. Never lose control, never losing, dog, I plan to keep. You lose your mind where I'm from, I ain't talking from what you see. I never lost soul, losing times, wasting steady pacing. You off track, I'm on that. You pray to God, hoping he can save you. But there's power about war, and that's a different angle. This another lost cause, and I'm just adding to the list. They not seeing me for that reason, got a flash on the grip. Nigga, big increase. They gon' judge me by my increase, and I'ma keep stepping in these joys to the increase. Just got off the phone with Jacob, and he said it's time to shine. Certified, blue dot, put it on you, now you verified. One West world, bigger than World War III. Do not sleep, it's not cheap, and it's still top 3.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Came on boats and then chains. So when I get rich, I'ma grab a boat and 10 chains with 12 ribs from each tribe. And each rib gonna have at least 3 kids. Yeah, I'ma have a deep squad. Been rapping since knee high. Now a nigga shack size. Spit that holy fire, when you hear it, you get baptized. One West world, yeah, you niggas know the logo. And I'ma bust it down so the haters see the glow glow. Let's have a feast, let's shine on our enemies. Right in they face, let's blind all our enemies. Cause now we half, but we come from half knots. Throw that cash on the ground, my nigga, let's cast lots. I started from the bottom, birthed out of mud, raised by gangsters, turned out a thug. I ain't give a fuck, burnt out I was, from hitting licks in and out and selling nicks in the drop.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
It's recording. Yo, I'm Desire One.
All sides out, war.
Yo, I'm the top of the pop.
And this is Captain Larry out here.
Hey, what's good, Zariah, man? What's up?
Get your ass up.
Oh, man, you always do tripping. What's going on, man?
What's good, Red?
Hey, man, they was clowning you at work today, man.
So?
I mean, we watched the video a couple times, but we really couldn't tell if it was you.
Yo, how's your eye?
Oh, it's cool. God damn!
What's up, Op? What's up, Op? Yo, let me get one of them flyers, man. Man, I ain't giving you shit. You better get the hell out of here before Cat Pop come out here. Man, come on, man. Why you gotta be like that, man? I'm trying to come to class, man. Why you acting crazy?
Man, you need to go do that.
Man, I ain't giving him shit.
Man, what? Man, you ain't gonna give me shit. We need brothers to come to class.
Damn, man. Ite me ya me están rotando. Man, you fucking racist, man. Give me this goddamn flyer, man. You acting crazy, home.
Man, fuck you.
Oh, shit. Tebow, nigga.
What? Who?
Tebow.
Damn, I ain't been to class in a minute. Shit. Oh, shit.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Red? Thanks for the bike. What you got on my ties, homie?
I ain't got nothing.
I thought you already collected the time.
I did, but I want Red's 10%.
Stall him out.
What's up, Red? What you got on my ties, homie?
I ain't got nothing, man.
Oh, yeah. You got something.
I ain't got. Hey, man, that's messed up, man.
Shut your ass up or I knock your ass out.
Yo, Tebow, man, that's messed up, man. Give him his money back.
What money?
You right, man. The money.
Hey, man, why ain't y'all help me?
Yeah, man, I paid my tithes.
Man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would have helped y'all.
What about the time he took the ties from me in Zariah's backyard?
Oh, that was different.
Man, let's jump him.
Man, sit your ass down, man.
Man, I got mind control over Tebow. When he here, I pay my tithes. But when he leave, I pay my tithes.
Man, damn, man. I should have just paid my tithes, man.
Man, that nigga gonna cry in the car.
He should have paid his tithes.
Shit, real shit.
Best
This shit is endless. What I speak is the truth. I don't care if it's offensive. 12 rounds hit hard, and this shit gon' go the distance. Way to exit cool, but wait till you see the interest. Know that we them niggas when we walk inside the entrance. Put me as the GOAT, you should be honored to get a mention. All my clips is standard, but I still get extensions. Switch on the big 30, sound like when it's spitting. Album so hot, I had to give them an extension. One West till they bury me. Yeah, that's the commitment. Don't trust the soul, niggas purring or they hit this shit. What I speak is the
What's up,
truth.
y'all?
I don't care if it's offensive.
What's up, Red?
Life that I chose, no turning
Thanks for the
back
bike.
in this. They don't understand.
You got on my tires, homie.
Tell them no forgiveness, rain on them.
God damn, man.
Life shit is endless. What I speak is the truth. I don't care if it's offensive.
God
Life
damn.
that I chose, no turning back. They don't understand when we tell them no forgiveness.
T-Bone,
Rain on them.
nigga.
I believe
T-Bone.
in reincarnation, so you know this endless. I'm solidified and stamped. That's why I walk with a signet. Build
I wanna
it from the
do-
ground up,
so like,
did it all
what's
good?
independent. Don't
Be like,
take
man,
it
that's
my
fucked up.
business.
If it was y'all, I would've helped y'all.
All right, word.
They say I walk
Man, that's
around
fucked
like
up.
a
If it was y'all, I would've helped y'all.
blameless. And if you ain't the same, I'm against it. Was born with the shit. The other half, I'm just gifted. 20 on me. Wish a nigga would so I could spend it. Start from the branch, then I ain't at the soil. You got a pair on me. That'll leave your family tree spoil. You can't catch you. Then
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. What I just said was peace, Lord, in the name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Bless you. Shalom, Shamar, Al-Tham Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. Peace unto the sisters. May the Lord watch over you. Tonight's class is on the Apocrypha. We are in the midst of the Feast of Dedication. And because we're in the midst of the Feast of Dedication, I found that it was more appropriate to do a class based on the Apocrypha, because guess what? The Apocrypha is where you find the Feast of Dedication at. All right. So look, get your pen, your pad, your precept book, and get ready. When we get back, we're going to go ahead and break this thing down, and we're going to pull out some precepts, and we're going to take a look at this thing from the Apocrypha. We're going to show how the Apocrypha actually lines up directly with the Bible. And it was no reason for them to take it out. It was no reason at all for them to take it out. But if it is evidence that who the oppressor is, then that would be a valid reason on why to take it out. So we'll be right back. So like I said, get your pen, your pad, get your precept book, and get on back here, and we're going to get busy. In the building, the Isupk, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commandant General Yohana. All right, look, we had a great weekend this Sabbath that just passed. We went down to New York, and we actually gave our clothes to our people, the immigrants that actually came over, our people. All right, and we gave out a lot of clothes. All right, we marched through the streets. We didn't just march up and down the street like them purple guys. We did it for a purpose. We was there for a reason, and we did exactly what we were commanded to do. And it was glorious. All right. It was glorious. All right. But like I said, we're in the midst of the Feast of Dedication. And in the midst of this Feast of Dedication, there's a scripture that I want you guys to look at. The question is, why did they take the Apocrypha out of the Bible? Why did they take it out? What was the reason why? Now, if you notice, if you look down in your left-hand corner on this slide, you'll see that the Wycliffe Bible had the Apocrypha in it. The Coverdale Bible had the Apocrypha in it. The Great Bible of 1539 had the Apocrypha in it. The Geneva Bible had the Apocrypha in it. The Bishop's Bible had the Apocrypha in it. All of these Bibles before the transatlantic slave trade, guess what? Had the Apocrypha in it. So the question is, why did they take the Apocrypha out? Why did they say, you know what? We're going, Salakia. What? You can't, can you hear me?
No, my mic not on, sir. We got to put on broadcast.
Oh, Salakia.
Settings, sir. Not that, sir.
All right, I got you. Salakia. When we say Salakia, we saying excuse me. Audio. Speaker. Broadcast.
Mike is on broadcast.
Well, Mike is on Roadcaster. Time. Speaker is on Roadcaster now too. So it's on. You to out? Come take a look at it and see yourself. Say something.
Can you?
I can hear you.
Testing.
I can hear you. Salakia. Can you hear me? Say something.
I got delay. I'm listening to you on the broadcast, but it's low. It's low on the broadcast. So
Oh, it's low?
Me up on the board. I don't know what mic that is.
All right, there you go.
All right, there you go. Wow.
All right. So like I said, it was no reason to take it out. So the Apocrypha was in these books. I mean, Salakia, the Apocrypha was in the Bible. The Bible always consisted of 80 books, right? But for some reason, they found that it was necessary to take it out. So tonight we're going to explore that, right? We're going to explore why they took it out. They took it out when? In the New World. Well, where's the New World? The New World was here on this side of the earth, right? They decided to take it out, and we're going to take a look at why. Now, what I find interesting is when you get to the book of John, and you can always ask a Christian this. Ask a Christian, hey, listen, can you read John 10 and 22 and 23? And when they read it, you got to ask them, well, what is this? In John chapter 10 and verse 22, it says, can you read that for me out?
And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication.
The what?
The Feast of Dedication.
The Feast of Dedication. And right there, you got to ask a Christian, well, what is the Feast of Dedication? Go ahead.
And it was winter.
Uh-huh.
And Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
So our king actually, Salakia, our king was there. Our king was actually honoring the Feast of Dedication. All right. And it was in the winter. So it was cold, right? The question is, you should always ask a Christian is, where did that come from? What is that? All right. And they would not be able to tell you, you know why? Because you find the Feast of Dedication in the Apocrypha. And they decided to take it out, right? So what we're going to start at in exploring why they took it out, we're going to go to the book of, we're going to go to the book of Daniel, and we're going to start at Daniel chapter 8, and we're going to read Daniel chapter 8, verse 3 through 5. But then we're going to go back and then we're going to explore this, and we're going to look at the first Maccabee. So we're going to compare the two to see if it was necessary to take it out. Does it have valid history? Does it validate prophecy? Does it validate vision? All right. Because if it did, there would be no reason to take it out. You got me out?
Come on. Book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw verse 4, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. Verse 5, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
So now what we have here in the book of Daniel's, right? We're going to take it from the top, but I wanted to jump right into this first because you have to ask yourself, well, who is the ram? Who is the ram? What is the ram? What do the two horns represent, right? What is the goat? And what is the notable horn that's between his eyes? That's a question that has to be answered. Now, you know, what's interesting is the book of Daniel answers this question. The book of Daniel answered this question, but it's not manifested until you get to the Apocrypha, and we're going to look at that. So who is the ram with the two horns and the goat and the horn? What is it? Who is it? What's going on? It tells you when you go down in the same chapter 8 in verse 20, it'll clearly tell you who it is. It's important for this study for me to show you from the gate who it is before we begin to read, because we're going to be paralleling. We're going to parallel between the book of Daniel's and the book of First Maccabee.
All right.
You ready?
Come.
Give me Daniel 8 and 20 and 21.
Book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 20. The ram which thou sawest, having two horns, are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
All right, so the first king of Greece. All right. So from the rip, I'm going to give you that answer. All right. The ram represent Media and Persia, the Persians.
Mm-hmm.
And the rough goat represent Greece. But the king, the notable great horn that was between his eyes, that's the first king. Guess what? If you take out the Apocrypha, you won't know who that first king is. Because nowhere in the Bible, the way that they gave it to us, the 66 books, does it have who that first king is. But guess what? We're going to see who it is. Now, some quick history. Persians and Medes, right? In the 6th century BC is when they came into this power, all right? Cyrus, the king, he overthrew the Median king and became ruler of the Persians and Medes, right? And he was he found what? That great empire. He found that great empire. Go ahead, you want to take it from there? What is that?
Achaemenid
Empire?
Achaemenid, I believe. Yeah. Achaemenid, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Empire.
Go ahead.
In 539 BCE, Cyrus captures Babylon and releases Jews from captivity.
We know about that. That's in the book of Ezra, right? Go ahead.
525 BC, Cyrus' son, Cambyses II, conquers Egypt. And 522 BCE, Darius I becomes king. He reestablishes and extends the empire, carrying out administrative reorganization.
All right. So now, then guess what we see in now notice the timetable. Notice the timetable. After that come Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great would be that notable great horn that is on that goat. That the horn that was on the goat that you read in what's that, 8 verse 5, Daniel 8 verse 5. that would be Alexander the Great. And the goat would represent the Grecians, right? So in 336 BC, Alexander succeeded to the throne of his father, Philip II of Macedonia of 334 BC. Alexander became the conqueror. He conquered the conquest of the Persian Empire with 30,000 infantry, 5,000 cavalry, and no navy, and no money. 333 BC, Alexander invaded Israel. All right. So now we see that that's who was the conquerors, the conquest. Let me see. All right, we getting there. He got a little bit of black on out. We getting there. We getting there. And Antiochus, the fourth Epiphanes, in 168 BC, the Greek king Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes invaded Jerusalem and captured the city. He marched into Jerusalem temple. He erected a statue of the Greek god Zeus and sacrificed a pig on the altar of the incense. This provoked a revolt in Judea as the Jews fought to remove Antiochus' sacrilege from the temple. And that's what the Feast of Dedication is about. The Feast of Dedication was about removing those wicked men, which was the Grecians, out of our temple. All right. They had came and completely taken over the temple, and they were all of this led through Alexander the Great. All right. So we're going to start at let me see. We're going to start at Slakia, can you give me Daniel chapter 1? I'm going to take this down for a sec. Give me Daniel chapter 1, young man. Just for a second, then we're going to come back up. Give me Daniel chapter 1. Hold on. Give me Daniel 1 and Daniel chapter 8. Slakia. Daniel chapter 8, verses 1 and 2. I thought I had it up.
Twab.
I'm Tawab. Let's get it.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 8, and verse 1.
Come on.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at first.
So Daniel had a vision. All right. So that's what this is about. Daniel was having a vision, right? Go ahead.
And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai.
All right, so you at verse 3 now, right?
Khan.
All right, hold on. So now I want to pull this back up. All right, Slakia. Give me a sec. All right, verse 3.
Verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
All right, so the reason why one was higher than the other, because the one that was higher than the other was the Persians. All right, that was the one that would be greater than the Medes, right? So that would be the one that came up last. Verse 4.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great.
And he became great. All right. So the Persians, all right, Cyrus, right? He became great. All right. And you can see on the PowerPoint on the slide, you can see Esther 1:1. Can you get that for me?
Con. Maybe.
Use your table of contents if you need. That's what it's there for.
It's the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 1.
I just need one verse. Go ahead.
Now it came to pass in the days of Assyrius, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces.
All right. So over 127 provinces. So he conquered all of this. This was all under Persia. Let's go back to Daniel. And you can see here is conquest while he's going back to the book of Daniel. You can see that empire. You can see that empire. There it is. You can see that empire there. Work with me on the slide. It's acting up tonight. All right. And you can see how much he had conquered. He conquered quite a bit. All right. It was massive. All right. Over 127 provinces. Right. Now, let's get back to Daniel chapter 8 and verse 5.
And I was considering, behold, and a goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram.
Salakia. Go ahead.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with clover against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
All right, so now what I need you to do is, I need you to go to the book of Maccabees. Hold that. You're going to hold Daniel. You're going to go to the book of Maccabees, and we're going to see if this is in the book of Maccabees. We're going to go to Maccabee chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 2.
It's the book of Maccabees, chapter 1. The first book of Maccabees?
Salakia, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, you're going to start at verse 1.
Okay, it's the first book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, and smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
The first over Greece. Now go back to Daniel 8 and 20 and 21 to make sure that we are confident that this goes parallel with that.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
Right.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
The first king. So the first king would be who?
Alexander.
All right, so now let's go back to the Maccabees, verse 2.
Verse 2. And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
This is how vicious Alexander the Greek was. Go ahead.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So Alexander the Greek is the one, the notable horn. And he was the one that conquest. You heard about Alexander the Greek before, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where else have you heard about Alexander the Great?
U.S. history, world history.
Exactly. U.S. history, world history. Why did they take it out? Why did they take it out? Right? Verse 4.
Book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things,
I know that's the why. Now go back to Daniel 8 and 7.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with clover against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
So what is that saying? You know what that's saying? What that's talking about?
Somebody was able to,
without looking at the Apocrypha,
somebody had enough power to be able to take on is Persia and Medes.
So who was that? Who?
Alexander the Great, and the other one is whoever I guess was ruling that other kingdom.
Ruling what other kingdom?
The Medes.
Right. Well, Persia was ruling over both at that time. So Alexander the Great, he conquered both. He conquered Persia, and by conquering Persia, he conquered the whole empire. All right. And then it says, what about in verse 8 where it says, therefore the he-goat waxed very great? That's where that Alexander the Great comes from. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. What is he saying?
I'm not sure.
All right. Let's see if we can find the answer. Let's go to 1 Maccabee 1 and 6.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth.
Go to verse 5.
And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
So this is how he was broken. So when you go to Daniel 8 and 8, it says, therefore the he-goat was waxed very great. And when he was strong, meaning when he was nice and young and strong. Remember, Alexander the Great, he died at a young age. It says the great horn was broken. All right. So in verse 5 in 1 Maccabee 1 and 5, it says, and after these things, he fell sick and proceeded that he would die. Verse 6.
Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them, while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
So he was broken, right? Go ahead.
And his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
That's valid right there. That's so important. This is the reason why they took it out. And you can see, based on this slide right here, you can see what they received from that from Alexander. Alexander the Great died, and 4 of notable horns. One name was Cassander, Seleucus. I'm gonna butcher these names. Ptolemy and Lysimachus. I can't pronounce that name. I butchered that. Can you pronounce that?
I can't even see.
I butchered that. But the point is, these are the 4. And notice what it says. It says, then evil was multiplied upon the face of the earth, right? So when you go to Job chapter 8 and verse 24, get that for me.
9.
Salakia 9 and 24. It says, and the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. The earth was given unto the hand of the wicked, and he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So guess what? We know who he was. We know who it is. We know who did it. It was the Greeks. Right now, to this day, we still use certain things from the Greeks. Like, for instance, isn't the months, aren't they named after Greek gods?
I'm not sure about that.
Look that up. Look that up. I'm quite sure it's either the days or the months got something to do with the Greeks. And you can see Alexander's empire. You can see how massive his empire was compared to, if you look at the slide, compared to Paul's ministry. When Paul did his missionaries, that circle right there represent his missionaries. And you can see how large and how massive Alexander the Greek and what he conquered.
What's Julius Caesar?
It's
Julius Caesar, he was Roman. Go ahead.
And what's
Google.
Caesar
I
Augustus?
just Googled it, sir. It says our months named after Greek gods, and it says our lives run on Roman time.
Yeah.
Birthdays, wedding anniversaries, and public holidays are regulated by Pope Gregory the 13th Gregorian calendar, which is itself a modification of Julius Caesar's calendar introduced in 45 BC. The names of our months are therefore derived from the Roman gods, leaders, festivals, and numbers.
All right, so it's Greek. I mean, it's Roman. What did you read at the beginning? It said something about Greek.
That was just the question that he typed in.
Nothing about Greek, sir.
All right, no sweat. All right. So now go back to Daniel chapter 8. We're going to go to 9, verse 9, because we're going to flow through this. We're going to flow through this because we get it somewhere. This right here, not only by reading the Apocrypha and reading about the conquest of Alexander the Greek, it gives you a better understanding of the New Testament. It gives you a better understanding of certain things that we're going to actually look at. So we're going somewhere with this, all right? Daniel chapter 8 and verse 9 through 11.
Before you, Salak, if I may.
Go ahead.
Before you do, it's another site says it's Greek and Roman.
That's what I thought.
That those months.
So it's both of them.
It's both.
Well, they both the same people anyway. Go ahead.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great, toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land.
So the pleasant land would be Israel. All right. The pleasant land will be Israel. Go ahead.
And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. And he cast down some of the host and some of the stars to the ground.
That would be Israel. Go ahead.
And stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
It was cast down. All right. And that's where the Feast of Dedication comes into play. Because we retrieved and fought back and took our temple back. All right. Go to 1 Maccabee 1, 9 through 11.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
Go ahead.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
All right, so now you see that these are his sons that put crowns up on his head, right? And that little horn, which waxed great, right? And went towards the pleasant land. Verse 11.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Who is that talking about? Who is that talking about? In those days went out of Israel wicked men. Who would those wicked men be?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. What you think?
Traitors.
Damn right. Traitors. Just like we got some today, right now, that sides with the oppressor against us and side with the oppressor to do mischief, to do wickedness, right? And look, it says, who persuaded many. That would be like your TD Jakes, your Creflo Dollar, your ministers, your pastors, those that are siding with the other nation, right? Saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathens that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So he says, since we left them, it's been hard on us. It's been tough on us, right? Verse 12.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
Now that's so important right there. What does it mean, and made themselves uncircumcised?
That they no longer followed their own ways, customs, statutes, and commandments.
Exactly, because it tells you right there, and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathens, right? And were sold to do mischief. They made themselves uncircumcised. If you read that prior to going into the New Testament, it would navigate you differently in the New Testament when you see uncircumcised, but we're going to explore that. Verse 16.
Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy.
All right, you know what it's talking about, right? This is talking about Antiochus Epiphanes. All right.
Okay.
So now he was greedy. He wanted both. He wanted to get Egypt too. Right? Go ahead.
And made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
All right, hold on for a minute. My slide and jumped off. All right, what verse you at?
21.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoke very proudly.
All right, so he went bragging about what he did in the pleasant land. He bragged about the things that he took from the pleasant land, the gold, everything, ravaging the sanctuary, everything that he did, he went back and he was proud of it. Verse 25.
Verse 25. Therefore there was great mourning in Israel in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed.
And the beauty of women was changed. That's a heavy statement right there. Just like now, we envy our oppressors. Our women want to be like our oppressors. Our women want to wear their hair. Our women want to go around whoring like they whore around. They want to be like them. They want to follow and serve their God. They want to follow their holidays. They want to do the things of our people. So the beauty of a woman was changed. All right. That's heavy right there. Go ahead. Verse 27.
Every bridegroom took up lamentation and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude. And he spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the cattle. Then builded the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and forfeited themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her.
All right, so now you see the state of Israel. You get a chance to really see the state of Israel going into the New Testament. That's what I want you guys to see. All right, verse 39.
Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Who says that today? We should all be one people. Who says that today?
Christians.
America. We all one nation. We're all one people. I was just talking to someone today, and she was expressing to me how we're all the same people. We're not the same people. We're not the same people. Where else in the Bible where they tried to make everybody one, the same, together?
Or in the New Testament.
In the Old Testament. Where?
In the Old Testament?
Yep. Wanted us all, everybody, to come together. The Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel tried to do that. So you know the Most High is against that. But this is what Antiochus wrote, all right, to the whole kingdom, that we all should be one people. Now remember, this is taking us into this New Testament, all right? And we're going to explore it. Verse 42.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
So now we're all becoming the one people. Israelites now are becoming what? Gentiles. Verse 44.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice, and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves in chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
To the end that they might forget the law. So all this was done to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. So now you got Israelites doing this. You got our people doing this. And these people had children, and they had children, and then they had children. And then you have, boom, you have the New Testament. I want y'all to keep that in mind. Just like we got today. I'm going to show you an example. Verse 50.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, he should die. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land.
So we read earlier, when they forsook the law, what does that mean? They become what?
Gentile.
Which is,
So,
what was the phrase that?
uncircumcised.
Uncircumcised is very important. Verse 53.
And drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
Go ahead.
Now the 15th day of the month of Kiaslu in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and built their idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side.
And they say, we don't have dates. Go ahead.
And burned incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burned them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. And at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be uncircumcised. And they hanged the infants about their necks.
Did you say, you ain't say uncircumcised, you said circumcised, right?
Slaki.
Go ahead.
And they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved, and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there was great wrath upon Israel.
So there was great wrath upon Israel. All right. There was great wrath upon Israel. And these things took place against Israel. And guess what? This was before the New Testament. So what do we see that happened prior to the New Testament? Let's talk about it for a second. What do you see?
Prior to the New Testament, what I see is a guy running to Israel and basically uprooted everything, uprooted the culture, uprooted the lifestyle, made people conform to other people's ways of life. And anybody who wasn't trying to conform to the other ways of life, he was killing them.
Right. And understand, he did it with laws and policies. And we see those things like in Daniel chapter 8, verse 25, where it says all and through his policies, also he calls craft to propose in his hand. Go ahead.
Slaki, this took place in the Promised Land?
All of this, yes, Khan. And in outside of the land. Remember, he ran a massive area. He went and took over Egypt. He did it in the Promised Land, right? He also did it outside of the Promised Land. He did it in a place called where was Christians first called? Where were we first called Christians at?
Rome.
Antioch.
Where?
Oh, it's like Antioch. Sir.
And where?
Antioch.
Antioch. And remember, his name is Antiochus. Exactly.
So there was Israelites at the time living outside of the Promised Land?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How they get there?
All right. Prior to all of this, this was our, this was like maybe like our 4th or 5th captivity. So we were scattered abroad by this time. We was everywhere. We was all over the place. We wasn't just in Jerusalem. We wasn't just in Jerusalem. And the only ones that came back to Judah was who? I mean, came back to Judea during the time of Cyrus, during the Persians, was who?
Judah.
Judah. So where was everybody else at? Scattered. Scattered. You had Israelites everywhere. We wasn't just in Jerusalem. We had Israelites. We had the Jews. By the time Yahushua got on the scene, we had the Jews that was living in Jerusalem. What were they called?
By the time was who?
When Yahushua came, by the time Yahushua got here, what was the Jews called? Okay, what was the Jews called, the Israelites called outside of Jerusalem? What were they called? You just read it.
Uncircumcised.
Yeah, they were called uncircumcised by the circumcision, by the Jews. The Jews called them uncircumcised. That's what they were called. Let me show you. See if I can pull it. All right, when you get to the New Testament, right, you had Jews, you had Gentiles, and you had the circumcision and you had the uncircumcision, right? So now let's go to the book of Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11.
Chapter 2, verse 11.
God.
Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
Now, when were they Gentiles in the flesh? That came from Antiochus Epiphanes. That came from the Greek conquering everything, the Hellenistic period. All right. That's where that come from, right? So it says, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh. Go ahead.
Who are called uncircumcision.
See, that's what they were called. Go ahead.
By that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hand.
So the Jews called those that was not following the law, those that forsook the law, they were called uncircumcised. And those that was in the land was called circumcised. See, that learning and reading the Apocrypha changes your whole approach to the New Testament. You understand? But we're going to keep on going. We ain't done. Go to Romans chapter 4 and verse 11. Let's look at the sign of circumcision. The sign of circumcision was given to who?
Chapter 4, verse 11.
Right. The sign of circumcision was given to who?
The Jews.
But who was it given to? It was given to somebody before the Jews. Who was it given to?
Abraham.
So it's not the circumcision. It's not. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Read Romans 4 and 11.
And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith, which he had yet being uncircumcised.
What does that mean?
That he wasn't following in Israelite ways.
No, this is the physical. See, I want to show you the difference between the physical and the spirit. This was the physical. It says, and he, who is the he?
Abraham.
Go ahead.
And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith, which he had yet being uncircumcised.
What does that mean?
That was almost like his stamp of approval for the faith that he had.
Exactly. It was a sign to show that he had that faith. So it's not the circumcision. Look, Under the new covenant, they tried to make it seem like the Jews tried to make it seem like it was all about the circumcision.
Mhm.
But what Paul is trying to show him is it's not all about the circumcision.
It was talking about a physical circumcision, and Paul was talking about a spiritual one.
Absolutely. But
Okay.
Paul was talking about them both, though, because they was talking about them both. All right. They were trying to say that you had to be circumcised. And Paul is saying, and he received the sign of circumcision as a seal of righteousness of faith, which he had yet being which he had yet being uncircumcised. So he believed God when he was uncircumcised, and then he received the seal, the sign of circumcision. You understand? Keep reading.
And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham.
Salakia. Go back up and read that second part. You didn't read the second part of verse 11.
Shlaki. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet been uncircumcised.
Right? Go ahead.
That he might be the father of all them that believe.
So it's all of them that believe. Even those that was uncircumcised. The Israelites, the seed of Abraham that was uncircumcised at this time, he still was the father to them which would believe. Right? Go ahead.
Though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also.
Now read verse 12.
And the father of the circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised.
So it would go to both of them. Now the question is, was Abraham following the laws, statutes, and the commandments before? Did he always follow laws, statutes, and commandments?
But there wasn't no laws, statutes, and commandments.
You sure?
In Abraham time.
It was. This is a misconception that we miss and we don't understand, because those laws, statutes, and commandments was given all the way back during the time of Adam. And they flowed all the way to Shem, all the way through Eber, even to Abraham. Watch, go to I'm gonna take this down for a minute. Go to, and I'm gonna try to pull it up. Go to Genesis. Hold on. I ain't gonna be able to pull it up. Can you pull that up for me out?
What's that?
Genesis chapter 26 and verse 5. Put that up so that the people can see that. This is a heavy precept right here. Before you read it, wait for him to put it up.
You might want to go ahead.
You can't get it?
It's going to be a minute, so I can.
All right, go ahead. Genesis chapter 26 and verse 5.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 26 and verse 5. Because that Abraham.
Who?
Abraham.
This is who he was talking about. Abraham, go ahead.
Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
So Abraham kept those laws, those statutes, and those commandments. There was law. Look, remember the event that took place with Judah and Tamar? Are you familiar with that? How he supposed to have gave his brother died, and he pulled out. That was the law. That was before Moses. You understand? Canaan uncovering Noah nakedness. That was the law.
Yeah.
The sacrifice that Cain and Abel did, that was the law. So there was laws, there was statutes, and there was commandments all the way back from the time of Adam. That's what Adam received. Adam received laws, statutes, and commandments. All right. So let's go back. You got it? Any questions? All right. Now let's go back to we in the new covenant. So therefore, Abraham believed the Most High. Romans 4:3. It says, for what saith the scriptures? Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. It was counted unto him for righteousness. All right. So what does that mean? 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 18. This is what Paul was preaching. This is what Paul was trying to teach and get over to the circumcision right here. This is what he was trying to get them to understand. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 18.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 18. Is any man called being circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. Is any called in uncircumcision? Let him not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of God.
So it's all about the keeping of the commandments of God. So if you don't keep the commandments of God, what is that considered? With these two phrases, uncircumcised. And if you do, if you are physically circumcised, is it profitable?
Yes.
Right. If you what?
Follow the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Are you familiar with that, right? Where's that at?
No, Slaki.
Where's that at? That's in Romans. Let's get it. Can you pull that up? All right, that's gonna be it for tonight. I'm gonna shut it down early. Can you pull that? That'll be Romans 2. That'll be Romans chapter 2. Let's get that. Romans 2. And look, that's what Romans 2 is about. It's about the law. It's about those that was judging. We had a big discussion about this. Those that was judging, and they were telling you to keep the law, but they themselves was breaking the law. Let's go to Romans 2 and verse 25.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 2 and verse 25.
Read.
For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision.
See how that go with the Apocrypha? See how it goes in parallel, because they forsook the law. So you become uncircumcised. Go ahead.
Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
That's why it doesn't matter. Now, where's he getting that from?
Maccabees.
All of this is coming from that period, but it's also coming from the law. Watch, I'm gonna show you. Go ahead.
And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law?
Go ahead.
For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God.
So where's that coming from?
A previous time.
When? You can always run to that law. So he's saying, but he is not a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, who praise is not of men, but of God. So where's that coming from?
The law.
The law is coming from Deuteronomy. Let's see. In closing, Deuteronomy chapter. Let me see. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 10, and you can start at verse 12, and this is going to be it.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10 and verse 12.
Mhm.
And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God, the earth also with all that therein is. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked.
So what is that we're making a reference to when he in verse 16?
Being circumcised.
Meaning, no, circumcised, therefore, he says, circumcised, therefore, the foreskin of your heart. What is that talking about?
Keeping the law, statutes,
Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. It's all about the obedience. It's all about that faith of keeping the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. That faith without works is dead. A lot of Christians like to say that faith didn't come into the New Testament. But as you can see, faith goes all the way back to Abraham, because Abraham believed the Most High by faith that he would have a seed, and his seed would be the heir, and he would be the father of many nations. You see? So it was all about faith all the time. It's a lot of, like I say, a lot of Christians like to think that faith is new, and there wasn't no faith in the Old Testament, but this shows that it was. You understand? So they took it out they took out the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha was showing that it was them. And taking out the Apocrypha, it tears down their doctrine. It tears down their religion and their faith that they have their faith in. You know, a lot of Christians like to say, well, I just got faith and that's it. There's no works behind it at all. But faith without works is dead. And that faith is you following his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. You got any questions?
Not on this, no.
Oh, you got another question?
I thought we was following up, that's all.
All right. From what? Last week? Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What you got? I was going to do that class next week.
Okay,
Yeah, the reason why we jumped into this one is because it's in the midst of the Feast of Dedication. But on Monday, I'm going to finish off what I started last week. All right? So if you want to hold that till then, mm-hmm. That'll be 2 hours. All right? All right, so we're going to turn the class over to Priest and Officer Tavial. Hold on. You know, I always go the wrong way first.
Right. Isupk security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and show themselves to the world. If they need transportation, teach with arrangement. After 6 months, if a brother or sister is interested in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21. Malachi 3:8-10 means 10th in Hebrew, ma'ashra. That's 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest funds, free will offering for the priest. It's not mandatory. It's whatever amount you like to donate. Upcoming holy convocations. We are in the midst of the Feast of Dedication. The next upcoming holy convocation will be the Feast of Purim, which will be on The 15th day of Sunday, the 5th of March, and Monday, March 6th Slocky. That's 2023. That's the wrong one. I'll give you those dates later on. All right.
I got you.
Slocky. All right, that's Thursday, the 22nd of February, and Friday, the 23rd of February, is the next High Holy Day. That's the Feast of Purim. You can read more about that in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 through 31. All right? If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. With that being said, Men of Israel, Amijah, you need to stand. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah, Barak,
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yazmatah, sorrows, means turn. We're going to give the sister courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah, Barak,
Yahweh Shema Atam Ba'Shem Yahushua.
Yazmatah. Class dismissed.
Get down here to class, 1232 North King Street, Wilmington, Delaware.
Shalom, Lord in Christ, to my brothers and sisters, man. Y'all need to come down to 1232 North King Street, where the truth resides, man. ISUPK Delaware. We definitely representing doing some big things.
Right? 202 North DuPont Boulevard in Smyrna, Delaware.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Come and be a part of this rising thing that we got going on here in Delaware.
I hear everybody claiming that they love the Lord and love God and all that. Well, get in here and show it. You know what I mean? The scriptures say faith without works is dead. So if you ain't doing nothing, your faith is dead. So get up and do something. What you need to do is get your ass up and get in the class. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing else. You're sitting home wasting time. Everything is going on around you, and you don't know how to compartmentalize these things. You understand? I'm on my way to class right now, like you should be. You know what I'm saying? Class don't stop for nothing.
A lot of the pictures that you put